Okay, I already know it sounds bad, but I, 35 female, and my husband Jeff, 37, are currently expecting a boy. His first child, my second. I got pregnant with my first when I was 18 and his dad was never in the picture. I work as a substance abuse counsellor and I love my job. However, this is where it gets tricky. My job offered me 8 weeks of PTO for when I have our son. I was so happy because I didn't want to return to work right away. Jeff and I got together when I turned 30 and he moved in with me because I own my house. We just got married this year and have talked about childcare multiple times, so he knows I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Well, I'm due in November and he just brought the idea up. I was baffled because we already talked about this. But I guess my mother-in-law and sister-in-law believe I should stay at home with our son as a mother and wife. I just don't understand where their opinions come in because I already know where they stand. Both stayed home with the kids. All three of them sat down to have this talk and they wanted me to focus on the kids, cleaning up the house, making dinner and all of that. But I already work and do those things. Well, mother-in-law decided to throw it in my face that I never got to be a stay-at-home mom because I was a single mom going to school and working, which she's not wrong, but it made me angry that she brought it up. I told them I worked so hard to give my son a good life, and having another baby doesn't change my decision to keep doing something I love, and that if they all want someone to take care of the house and kids all day, Jeff should be a stay-at-home dad because I make more money than him, and it would make more sense for him to stay home instead of me. It turned horrible after that. I got yelled at by mother-in-law and sister-in-law that it's not his role as a father to do those things, and that he's the man of the house and should be the one making money. Jeff just stood there not saying anything, and I blew up and reminded all of them that it was my house, not his. I kicked mother-in-law and sister-in-law out, and Jeff was so mad at me that he went with them. He said he won't come back till I apologize to all three of them. So, am I the idiot for not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom? Nope, not the idiot. OP, you make more. It's your house, your in-laws are dinosaurs, and your husband just proved that he doesn't have your back. Bonus. Here's your to-do list for tomorrow. 1. Change locks. 2. Make an appointment to see a family lawyer about custody, parenting time, and child support in your jurisdiction. 3. Research them on the internet in the meantime. 4. Resolve that none of those 3 people gets back in the door unless they provide you with a fulsome, sincere apology. Sorry about the marriage, OP. I hope it was fun while it lasted. The thought of my husband bringing my sister-in-law and mother-in-law into my house to tell me what to do with my life, especially after discussing exactly what I want, makes my blood boil. So I'm sorry that you had to go through that. Please reevaluate your relationship with Jeff and whether or not his value systems are compatible with yours. Do you want your son to be taught this drivel about how he needs to grow up to be the man of the house? Do you want the rest of your life to be cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the children for Jeff because presumably he won't lift a finger to help you because that's not his job? Because that's what's going to happen if you stay with this man and let him and his family treat you like this. Please, be compassionate to yourself and your children and realize that you deserve far better. My vote is for the husband set up mother-in-law and sister-in-law to deliver this message. And he didn't do it with the goodness in his heart of having the baby have a stay-at-home mom. He did it so OP would take care of him like his mom used to. Flags. Flags everywhere. Update. It's currently 1:15 a.m. and Jeff just called me. He informed me that he cleared out our joint bank account and deposited it into his account. Bill money, savings for future trips, grocery money. That he's been thinking and the only way he'll come back home is if he can be responsible for all the finances and I put his name on the house too. I said, absolutely not, and hung up. I've already reached out to my boss and will be working from home via virtual meetings. I will be calling and talking to attorneys tomorrow morning to see what my options are. I didn't let Jeff know I would be home, so I'm sure he'll try to stop me. My boyfriend, 33, and I, 29 female, have been dating for 3 years. He owns a house and lives there by himself. I live in an apartment by myself. We've talked about moving in together as that's the logical next step in our relationship, and we both want to do it. But I have some hang-ups related to moving into a house that I don't have any stake in. I'm refusing to pay any money that would go directly towards his mortgage. I don't have any stake in the house, why would I contribute to his mortgage payments? I'm okay helping with utilities, groceries, household items, etc., but paying his mortgage is a hard no for me. I just don't think it makes any sense for me to pay his mortgage when I would get nothing from that if we were to break up. His argument is that I would essentially be living with him for free, and it would cause an uneven dynamic in our payment towards shared living expenses, which I kind of get, but at the same time he's the one benefiting from paying down the mortgage and gaining equity, not me. He also argued that his mortgage is pretty much exactly what I was paying in rent, so by cutting that in half I'm saving a lot of money on living costs compared to living on my own, which, yeah, that's nice too, but legally it's still not my house. I told him the only way I would pay money for rent was if he signed a contract stating that any money I paid towards his mortgage would be paid back to me if we broke up. It would also allow me protection from eviction and other basic tenant rights, similar to a rental agreement. He's refusing to sign anything like that because, in his words, I could break up with him for no reason and then take him to court for thousands of dollars, which I suppose is true, but I wouldn't just break up with him for no reason. This whole situation is driving a wedge between us, and he's angry at me for being so difficult when all he thinks he's asking is that we split living expenses 50-50 if we're to live together. To me, it's not that simple when he's the one owning the house we would live in. If I were on the title, it would be a different story, but he's not willing to put me on the title because he's lived there for 7 years already. My lease at my apartment is up in 2 months, and I know I need to make a decision sooner than later. It doesn't help that my landlord will increase my rent and similar apartments in our area are going for even more than I'm currently paying, but I don't feel right contributing money towards his mortgage. I also know that if I renew my lease, it's pretty much a dagger to our relationship, which I don't want because I love him and see a future with him. I want to make sure I'm protected. I can tell my boyfriend's patience on this is wearing thin, and he's upset with me for digging my heels in on this. But for me, this is about protecting myself from the worst-case scenario while he's not risking anything. You are the idiot. You don't have any problem paying your landlord's mortgage, and you have no stake in that. So how is this any different? You live there, you can help pay for the expenses. These always crack me up. Break up with him so he can find someone more intelligent. You ask him to live there free or put your name on the title when you aren't married or even engaged, or force him to pay you back whatever you paid if you break up. Hope he tells you to kick rocks. I would. Split the damn bills and dump him so he can find a financially responsible partner. On the house, he's paid down for 7 years, LOL. That house is probably worth 40% more than he paid too. He took all the risk, paid the down payment in the first 7 years, where interest payments are the highest, all the maintenance and upkeep up to that point, etc., and OP is like, you shouldn't get money for housing me unless I get half of your giant nest egg asset. Holy crap. Not the idiot, and don't let the others here tell you otherwise. You're making the right decision. When renting from a landlord, you're not buying food together with your landlord. So if the rent your boyfriend has calculated for you is the same as your current rent, plus you'll be splitting expenses, then you'll end up paying even more, and that's bad enough. Exactly, I cannot believe these responses. The boyfriend is also going to share the same living space, unlike a regular landlord. So if she pays off half the mortgage plus helps him out with expenses for a mutual living space, she's effectively treating the property like her own. Except it's not her own. This isn't the case when renting from a landlord. So I'm currently stuck in the middle of my mom and my future wife, and while I know I should really be on my fiancé's side, I'm kind of on my mom's. My fiancé and I have been planning our wedding for a year, and my mom got engaged 5 months ago. The venue she liked had an opening 2 weeks before our wedding, so she took it. My mom has the money and connections to get stuff done fast and could just put a wedding together quickly. She also didn't want to wait until next spring or summer, as we live somewhere with 4 seasons. When my fiancé found out, she was furious. She screamed at my mom that she was a psycho and pathetic. She ended up bursting into tears, and I tried to calm her down. There will not be a single overlapping guest, so I don't see the issue. My mom even specified we don't have to come if it's inconvenient. My fiancé thinks it's wrong and attention-seeking, but I feel like other people have lives, and we don't get a whole month. All of the family invited to our wedding is not invited to hers. I told her to stop yelling at my mom and being a bridezilla. I asked her to apologize to my mom for the name-calling, but ultimately didn't push it as she didn't want to, and my mom's fiancé was laughing, which I didn't like. My fiancé is furious with me, thinks I'm spineless, and fails to understand her perspective. Not the idiot. If the guest list is entirely different for both, and the only overlap is your mom and her fiancé and you and your fiancé, then what attention does your fiancé think your mother is even seeking and getting? And from whom? I think your fiancé is either super stressed or being a bridezilla. Although I do find it very odd that there's zero overlap in guests, how can that really be true? So your mother has no family other than you? We do have family, but my mom did a cleanse about 6 months ago and stopped talking to them all or went very low contact. My mom has had issues with those people for as long as I can remember, but she loves her fiancé's family, and now that she's going to marry him, I think she wants to pretend her family doesn't exist. Well, this screams more to the story. It's strange that the mom is doing the wedding 2 weeks before the wedding and that she's always the one who gets bullied. I feel like there's a chance OP is deliberately missing out on information. It would be interesting to hear the fiancé's side. Since you admit that your mom doesn't like your fiancé, is it possible that she has purposely planned her wedding in a way that would upstage and upset your fiancé? I don't think the 2 weeks is necessarily the issue. Rather, the potential for actual malicious intent on your mum's part, especially if there's a pattern of poor past behaviour towards your fiancé. Everyone's the idiot here. Like, it is weird your mom did that cleanse. Your fiancé overreacted, but you didn't handle it that well. I can't believe this became a conflict. With the weather being so nice, I decided it'd be nice to have a fun little dinner party, so I invited everyone and their SOs if they had them. One of the SOs is Rick. I've always gotten along with him just fine, but he's one of those guys who tries to make the most bizarre things into his entire personality. The biggest one is that he's a huge garlic guy. He's one of those guys who makes a huge deal out of how he uses 400 cloves of garlic in a dish. I don't eat garlic. I have GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, from purging, and unfortunately my biggest triggers are alcohol and garlic. I'm okay with cooked onions. For some reason in the past 2 years, my sensitivity to garlic has actually gotten worse. So I didn't use garlic in the dishes I made. Not a huge deal, right? I have a pantry full of other spices and I'm not shy about using them. We were eating and I got some compliments on the food. It wasn't anything special, but Rick said he liked it but felt the food was missing something and asked how much garlic I used. I said I don't eat garlic, so I didn't include it. He scoffed and was like, "How could you not use the most basic ingredient to most meals? That's why it tastes like this." He made a big, exaggerated face and put the food down. He then asked why I'd have a dinner party if I had such a limited palate, and that he wouldn't have people over for Thanksgiving dinner if he was a vegetarian. I said, "I have GERD, dude. Garlic triggers it." He pointed out that I was drinking alcohol. I said yes, I was in fact drinking one hard seltzer that I'd flattened, and that these are the only alcoholic beverages I can drink, and that also I had one just in case my body changes its mind. He and I went back and forth until his girlfriend, the one who was actually my friend, told him to chill. Rick got louder and was laughing like, "Come on guys, am I really the idiot here?" with his hands out. One of the other guys said it was a little weird, but not a big deal. Anyway, it's a month later and Rick still won't drop it. Instead, he insists that it was an idiot, selfish hosting move to drink the alcohol but not cook with the garlic because garlic goes in everything. So now I'm curious and thought this would be a fun, low-stakes question for you all. Am I the idiot? Why are you friends with this monumental idiot anyway? Someone whose entire personality seems to be about one tiny thing. Who thinks he is the food police? I'm a very keen cook and garlic is inappropriate for many, many, many dishes. Not the idiot, of course. I'm also curious, does he stink 24/7? OP should still invite him but serve him garlic. Only garlic. Several whole roasted garlic bulbs and nothing else. Is that enough garlic for you now, Rick? And make sure you get a vampire costume for Halloween for his benefit. Rick needs to get his garlic addiction under control. It's affecting his relationships at this point. If my SO acted that way, not simply expressing a preference for garlic but telling the host it was rude to omit it, I would be mortified. No joke, possible grounds for breaking up because who behaves that way? Not the idiot, open and shut case. I, 20 female, am currently 30 weeks along. I live with my parents and pay rent, utilities and other essentials. Ever since I found out I'm pregnant, there's been a lot of tension in the house and it feels like my parents' marriage is getting worse because of me. When I first found out I was pregnant, my dad flipped his lid because I wasn't married and because I didn't know who the father was. My mum defended me from most of his crap throughout my pregnancy and was very supportive but very disappointed in my dad for his behaviour, and it's been ruining their marriage. Last week my dad demanded I move out, and I refused since I pay rent and mum doesn't want me to move out. As usual, mum defended me and they had a big fight. I'm feeling like an idiot since I'm ruining my parents' marriage over this when I could move out, but I don't know where to go and need my mum's support. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You're an adult. If you want to have a baby, that's fine, but there's no reason to expect anyone else to support your child. Babies are loud and disruptive. Your father is done raising his kids, so why do you expect him to start over to raise yours? Not the idiot. You're not ruining your parents' marriage. Your dad is. Your mum is finding out your dad's belief around unwed or single mothers. You getting pregnant and having a child has not ruined your parents' marriage. However, your dad's behaviour is. I'm really glad your mom is being so supportive, and I hope this situation resolves in whatever way it needs to. You have to prioritise your well-being and the well-being of the baby. Your dad's behaviour affects your emotional well-being and your unborn babies. However, he feels it's not as important as you and this child. But I'm pretty sure you have some clue about the baby, Dad. You might have to pay for some paternity tests, but you need to find out who it is and make them contribute. Don't let him off the hook. I don't know if you want to know who the father is, but your child has the right to know and to be financially supported.